document or whatever word processing program you're using, and I'm going to make my pictures the sizes that I want them to be on this card. So I'm going to click on the picture. The first picture I'm going to resize is my chocolate, and you see how an outline comes up around the chocolate with all of these little boxes. So I'm going to take my mouse and click on the corner, and I'm going to drag it in so that I can make my picture smaller. I'm thinking I probably want it about 1.5 inches across and maybe about 1.5 inches down, so I'm kind of manipulating it, making it a little bit smaller. You can make it whatever size that the person you're working with needs. So if they need really big pictures, then make them big. If they can handle them being small, then go ahead and make them small. So I'm going to go down and go to my next picture, my little boy, do the same thing. Click and the outline comes up. Click on the corner. Make him smaller. Make him smaller this way too. So I'm just going to keep manipulating him using the little boxes until he's the size that I want him to be. So I think that's a good size for me. And then I'm going to go to my picture of the coffee and do the exact same thing. So I'm making them smaller. So now I have all of my pictures resized, and now I want to print them. And so I am going to print them using cardstock, which is just a thick version of paper. But you don't have to use cardstock. You can use any type of paper. And then we'll show you later on our next video how to, if you have to use regular paper, if you don't have cardstock, how to make those thicker and more durable so that they'll last a little bit longer. So right now I'm going to print my document. I just go to File, Print. And I'm going to print one copy. So now I'm done, and my images are printing. And so go ahead and resize your images to the size that you want them and print them out, and then we'll be ready for the next video. So now the second step to making our first thin board is that we're going to cut and laminate whatever we have chosen to use as our first thin board and as our symbol system. So I am going to cut out the first thin board template that you were able to download from our site, and mine is we printed on cardstock paper, and we also printed in color ink. But if you don't have cardstock and you want to make yours a little more sturdy, then feel free to glue yours onto cardboard. You can use old cereal boxes, you can use egg cartons, anything that would make it a little bit more sturdy for you. And if you don't have color ink, don't worry about it. You can use black and white, and if you want to color it in, you can use crayons, markers, colored pencils, anything like that to be able to make yours color. And then we're also going to cut out, if you wanted to use our pictures, then you can cut those out. If you made your own from the internet or from your digital camera, you can use those. Or if you drew your own pictures, then you can cut those out at this time. So what we're going to do is cut everything out and get it ready for laminating, because our next step is to be able to laminate these pictures or drawings, and to make them so that they're a little bit more sturdy and reusable. So I'm going to use my laminator over here, but if you don't have a laminator, then don't worry about it, because you can always use the contact paper that we have included in your materials kit. If you don't have a materials kit, then call us or email us and we will send you one for free that has all the materials for this class for all 10 sessions. You can also use packaging tape. Sometimes you can even just use a Ziploc bag and stick your icons in a Ziploc bag. So now I'm going to laminate just a couple of pictures. So when we're done laminating, then we're just gonna cut around them, cut around our board, and cut around our pictures. And when we're done, we'll be ready to do the final step in putting our first thin board together. So go ahead and get your materials cut out, laminated, and ready to put together. Okay, now we're going to put it all together. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to use a little piece of sandpaper, and we're going to scratch up the surface of our first thin board so that any adhesive that we use will adhere to it, because sometimes the laminating is really slippery and our adhesive doesn't stick very well. So if you just take your sandpaper and rough up the surface of it, and then do the same thing with the laminated photographs, drawings, whatever you're using on your first thin board, then you can take and turn them over and do the same thing with the sandpaper. Scratch up the laminating film. And then everywhere that we scratched up, we're going to put adhesive. So I'm going to use Velcro today, but you can use any type of adhesive you'd like. We've used putty, we've used double-sided tape, magnetic tape, and I'm going to apply my Velcro. I'm going to cut some pieces. And our kind of rule of thumb around here, so that you remember which Velcro, because you have a scratchy side and a soft side. Our rule around here is so that you'll remember, is to put the soft Velcro on the stationary. So the stationary thing here is our board. So I'm going to adhere the soft side of the Velcro to the board. And this way, that if you want to use your pictures or anything on a felt board or anything like that, then the scratchy surface will help them stick to that. And so if you keep a rule and make sure that you always use the same type of system with your Velcro, then you should be able to use all of your supports, all of your visuals, the photographs or whatever it is that you're using on your support. You should be able to use them on all types of visual supports. So if you have pictures on your visual schedule, you should be able to remove them and use them on your first thin board. Because sometimes whenever we go to use them on a different support, they won't stick because we have the same type of Velcro on both of them. So I have my Velcro adhered to my first thin board. And so here I'm going to have, first you do the laundry, then you can watch TV. And so that one would be finished for me. And then I would take the rest of my icons or photographs and put them into a plastic bag so that I wouldn't lose them. Now, if you are using actual objects, then you have a little bit of a different process. So you have with your templates, you have a paper that has first then that you can print out and use on your board. I have this really nice yellow laminate board, but if you don't have one, don't worry about it, because you can use anything as long as it's strong enough to hold your objects. So you're going to take and you're going to run a piece of Velcro across your board. So if you're using a cookie sheet, you could just run a piece of Velcro across that cookie sheet. And then we're going to take and put our first and then